What did you make of last night?
I found it painful all around. I have to say the moderation was terrible for all the reasons you've set out. Maybe the bigs told them to do this, but the fact is, I think most journalists they don't have to be told. This is what they naturally do. They think they're so self-important that they're participants and they put their thumb on the scale, obviously, in a pretty blatant way. I think Kamala Harris is a superficial mediocrity, but she was obviously very well prepared, delivered her rehearsed lines, and Trump wasn't very well prepared and often took the bait from her. So you got the feeling that it was 3-on-1, but you got the feeling most of the night he was on the defensive. So I don't think it was a great night for him. So I didn't. I guess I didn't like any of it, Hugh. I found it a painful hour and 45 minutes.
My summary this morning, and I've said it many times, Donald Trump lost the battle. I think he won the war because ABC was so bad, Kamala Harris so vapid, and at least the focus got to migration. But can I ask you what's bugging me, Rich? There were some things that
Yes.
were not discussed. Joe Biden's incapacity is a constitutional crisis.
Yep.
Hirsch Goldberg was executed 10 days ago. An American
Yep.
citizen did not come up. Iran is subsidizing the Houthis attacking
Yeah.
our warships every day. And then most importantly and stunningly, not one word about China from the moderators. And someone pointed out to me Disney can't afford to offend China. Let's start at the back and work forward. Do you think that Disney is just can't bring up the fact that China's got a spy in the New York governor's office, a genocide against the Uyghurs, and the largest military buildup in history?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. All those are really important things that didn't come up. What did come up is something that Trump said a month ago about Kamala Harris's race, right? that obviously is going to develop no news or not advance the ball on anything. And the dynamic on that exchange was typical the whole night, right? Trump, why do you say this terrible thing? Kamala, what do you think of Trump having said this terrible thing? Right? That's just how it went. Um, so this was very bad. But again, I think it was Trump's opportunity, maybe his only one. We'll see if there's second debate to really expose her, and I don't think he quite did. But I don't think she belled the cat herself. I don't think you got a strong sense of really what she wants to do the next 4 years, or she achieved any separation from Joe Biden, or really created a strong impression of herself. So I think she won the debate. I agree. I doubt it's decisive, but it's a big moment, and you want to be better than Trump was last night.
So, friends of Israel who are watching that, the night before, Dan Senor in Philadelphia with Dave McCormick packed out a synagogue. Ari Fleischer was there, and my friend from Pennsylvania was there as well. He sent me a picture of it. I think the Friends of Israel vote, both Jewish and non-Jewish. I'm a Christian Zionist, I guess. I think she is not getting that vote, Rich, and not talking about
Hmm.
Iran and not talking about Hirsch doesn't help her.
Yeah, and all the support for Israel is always conditioned with some sort of but or caveat, or the people on the streets are really the emotion is the right thing. So these pro Hamas protesters, and I'm so with you on Hirsch. I hadn't even thought about this. Maybe I've been sucked in by this context too. This is an American murdered in the most heinous way, and who was incredibly brave when he was captured. Throwing those grenades back out at Hamas, held in these horrific conditions, and just the level of outrage just isn't there. It's bizarre. October 7th, dozens of Americans were killed. Americans are still being held hostage. Teddy Roosevelt sent the fleet to go and get this Greek American who his citizenship actually was a little sketchy, but just national honor was clearly implicated, and we've just lost that sense, and I think it's shameful.
It is shameful. Now, Rich, I will listen to the editors later today. You always use an exit question. You do a wonderful job moderating it. We need more Rich Lowry as well as more of everyone else. But my exit question: how much, if at all, did last night's debate change the polls?
Who knows? I'm guessing not much at all. She clearly been losing momentum. Maybe she'll stop losing momentum, which in such a narrow race could be a significant thing. But I think we went in tied. We'll come out tied. She won on points, but that my guess is not enough to really move the needle in terms of this overall race where both sides are so entrenched. Incredible things have happened over the last 2 months, and not much has changed at all. So my guess is the debate will also fall in that bucket.
Now, this is slightly switching, Rich, but I now listen to about 7 podcasts whenever they pop up. Among them, the editors, the McCarthy Report. Among them, commentary podcasts, Ruthless podcasts. There are 7 or 8, and everyone I getting hammered. I think that podcasting got a big boost last night because the credibility of legacy media, it was already low. It's at 15%. Does anyone on the center right watch ABC again? Does this week suffer? Does the network pay a price?
Well, I'm not sure many people were to begin with. Yeah, but it's another blow to the mainstream media's, or so-called mainstream media's, credibility. But Hugh, we've been on this stick, right, for 30 years. We've bird dogged them. We point out when they're wrong and when they're biased, and it hasn't made the slightest bit of difference, right? It's actually gotten worse. This was the worst debate that any two supposed objective journalist moderators have ever done. So I'm not sure it's
Can we
any
emphasize
better.
that?
Yeah.
You are not given to overstatement. You and I are in the same place when it comes to being reasonable. I will not attack people by name. You never do it either. But it was the worst debate. I'm 68. I don't know. You're younger than I am, Rich. I've done 5 debates. I think you've done a debate too. They are extremely scripted. They are rehearsed for weeks in advance. Everybody's involved, from the head of ABC News and probably the head of Disney down to Muir and Lindsay and 50 people. That was all scripted. How could that happen?
Yeah, it's just they think it's their role. And the left is constantly working the refs, right? They said the CNN moderation was terrible because the CNN moderators actually sat back and did their job. They asked questions, they're good questions, and they let the candidates answer, and the debate played out that way. You're not supposed to be a participant, right? You're there. You're not a candidate, right? No one's interested in you. No one's interested in your views. But they become so self-important on top of everything else. Speaking of being dated, I don't know if you remember Jack Germond, the old Baltimore
Oh,
Sun
sure.
Journalist.
Oh, yeah.
This
The
kind of
McLaughlin group.
overweight, overweight, ruffled guy. I just can't imagine him ever doing any of this stuff that journalists do today, because he understood. I'm just there to record what's happening, right? I'm not there to be a participant. I'm not that important. I'm not that superior.
Bob Novak was
slightly.
Yeah, Bob Novak does what I try and do and you do, which is mix politics and reporting. Rich, there was a piece by Peggy Noonan in 2016 Wall Street Journal, Rise of the Unprotected. I thought it was the most important piece of that cycle. I think it's at work again. If you live in Springfield, Ohio, and I don't know if Jack Butler can get there. It's probably close to where Jack lives when he lived in Ohio. What do you think the people of Springfield, Ohio, and by extension, other cities impacted by this 10 million to 15 to 20 million people, I don't know how many millions it is. What do you think Springfield, Ohio thinks of last night? They're not worried about the dogs. They've got 20,000 Haitians there in 3 years.
Yep, town of 58,000 according to the 2020 census, and 20,000 Haitian migrants show up. That's just, it's bound to be a culture shock. And I watched I don't know whether you saw the city commission testimony of the African-American gentleman in the Cincinnati Reds baseball cap. It was 2 minutes. I watched it about 8 times because for me, it was just such a common sense expression of what the immigration restrictionist position is, which is culture matters and country of origin matters and numbers matters. And he kept on saying, I don't have anything against these people. I'm not complaining. I'm complaining about you and the people who brought them here. What did you think was going to happen? This is the way they live in their country, and they're bringing it here, right? And it's such a burden, the pet eating thing aside. It's New York Times has reported it's a burden on the health services, it's a burden on the education system. Of course it is. And why are we doing that? We have a lot of problems in our own country. We don't need to be importing problems on top of them. And again, that's not to attack the Haitians. They're here for understandable reasons. They want to better themselves. But it goes to that guy, what that guy with the baseball cap was saying. Why aren't the authorities more attuned to this?
So, exit question. Maybe I'm wearing my rose-colored glasses. When I say Trump lost the battle, but he won the war, that meltdown on ABC's part is going to throw attention onto videos like that in places like Springfield, to the fact that there are no hotel rooms in New York or Massachusetts because they're full of migrants. I think it generated attention to the Achilles heel of Kamala Harris. What do you think? Does it do that, Rich
Nah,
Lowry?
I think he lost the battle, and the war is still yet to be won. And this, in historical terms, this is the 100 Years' War. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose the battle of Halfor necessarily. There's still a lot to be fought over. And we have like 56 days left or something like that. But that is it'll feel like a couple of years, and every day from here on out matters. But I wouldn't
Let me
I
do
wouldn't
my
say he
best,
won
John
the war.
McLaughlin. Freddie the Beetle Barnes, Rich the reporter, Lowry.
There you go.
Will there be another debate? Will it be on Fox?
I think it's hard to say. I think Trump needs a mulligan. I'd be tempted to do it for our Trump, but I think there's going to be a big disagreement about who does it. Right? Why would Trump go to any so-called mainstream outlet, and she's not going to go to Fox? So I wonder if actually the Harris campaign knew, or sort of thinking we will never agree on terms, but it will seem like we're really confident in one another because we proposed it.